Hey guys, previously we did an edit in Darktable, the same image. This time we're going to do it in RawTherapee. We're using the art version. So we'll turn on the module, and there's that. And I like to experiment and see, go through this list and see which one gives me the best contrast. What I'm looking for specifically is in here, these different shades of color will give me different shades of gray. And I want the one with most. That one gave me very, see how it just took it all away? And I'm shooting for more. Low sensitivity brought some in. Chromatic. Hyper, not much change. Ortho. Ortho looks promising. And I don't think we get anything off infrared. That is cool though. So we had, let's go ortho. So that's a nice start. So we could still change and mess with the color filter and keep ortho enabled as well. But notice how we lost our contrast, the depth of the color there. So that was yellow. Let's see. Blue green. Oh wow, look at that, the blue and the purple. So that gave us a lot more compared to none. Why not? Let's go for it. That looks pretty good. So that's what we're going to start with. That's my black and white module. I have nothing else on, and we'll dive into the exposure. Looks like this is the base exposure here, and I'm going to bring it up a little bit, looking at my histogram. I'm just experimenting with RawTherapee here, see what we got. And that's just their, let's do all three. Okay. I don't see my histogram changing any. Let's see. Okay, that's better. Okay, these are separate. These are separate colors. Toggle between linear and log. Show hide chromatic. Okay. And these are individual. Let's use a raw histogram. Okay, so we reset it. And you know the come on. Okay. And reset one more time. Looks like a good starting point. So here's my starting point after I set my black and white, and using my histogram. The image looks fairly well composed according to the histogram. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. I don't have anything in the background to compare to as a white, but this, I'm trying to set this here. The white should be a true bright white without crushing it. And here's our clipping indicator. Nothing's broken there. Nothing's broken there. Nice. And we have our dynamic range. If we go too far, we could crunch it. And it already kind of compressed it a little bit there. Let's see our black point. So, experimenting, we're going to try the black point here. It's a little bit darker there. That might work for us. We could bring out the whites later on. Okay, so we'll try that. Let's go to the tone equalizer and see if we could bring up the midtones. It's not too bad according to the histogram. We gotta turn it on first, don't we? Try and bring it up as much as I can right here. And we're still not killing it. That's a nice bright white, isn't it? I like that. At the highlights. Again, I'm going to focus on the whites. Let's see what the tonal map gives us. And we'll try the blacks. And now the black just darkens the area around here a little bit. We might use a vignette to circle that later on. I don't need see any spots. Let's check our noise. Go into the meta. The ISO is 90. It's nice and low. So I don't think I need to do any noise reduction. We won't use anything in this tab. And let's go to our texture. I like to add some contrast to the black and whites. And it's suggesting via 1 and 1, 1 by 1 here. So let's do that. We can see we added a little bit of texture there. And what I'll do, I think, is I will just add that not to the whole image. So I will use my brush. So we must activate it. Go widen that up a little bit. And I'm just going to trace these edges around here. Maybe even this around here. I want to get all of these edges. We will even get these dead leaves here. Okay, let's take a look at our mask. And I want to feather it. So we scroll down, I just scroll down under the brush menu and it has its own feathering mode. and I can adjust the mask here. And of course, you could decide how much you want to do here. So let's try that out. And we could try 100% first and remove the mask. So now we should be just texturing. You can barely see the changes, so this is good. And we know we could slightly see in here. So we're going to stop right there. I think that's fine. And just for fun, we're going to do the same thing for the smooth. And it has its own mask. We could add more and remove them. And we're going to turn on the brush again. Pressing the brush. And it reset the brush on us. So we're going to try and I'm going to blur some of this out and see what happens. And I'm going to be careful what I blur or smooth. Because I'm experimenting. I've never really messed with this before. And let's try the mask. And let's see what it looks like when we apply the tool. So there's a smoothing. I don't think it's active yet. Okay, there we go. So if you look on the edges, show the mask again. Okay, gotta turn that on to see the mask. You can see the mask areas. And then we go ahead and turn on and off the smoothing. I guess we could do it from here or here. We have many masks. We could better through here. And so I did, I smooth this area out here. And I kind of did this area inadvertently. I'm going to go ahead with it on. And I'm going to go through and soften these areas up a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to remove this one because I want to bring back this right here. And maybe even this one. So I saw an eraser here somewhere. There we go. So there's the eraser. Let's see how well it does. Okay, it brought it back. Nice. And let's see if we had some up here. We did have a little bit up here. We don't want to, let's see what we have as far as, we'll clean this up, remove it from up here. And that's how we use that tool. And I think I wanted to get in here. And we will turn on the feather to clean this up a little bit. And we'll try the smooth, see how that works. Okay. Okay, so there was the a smooth, and we added some texture. There's a film simulation in here. Let's experiment with that. Turn this one on. And it's showing that there's an error. And that's because you have to activate this. I guess at some point RawTherapee is thinking there could be more than one, so they didn't just turn it on as a default. So by the natural state, it's kind of darkened everything up. Let's see if we can fix the whites. I guess it's kind of a film simulator. Instead of kind of remove the digital plainness that the camera brings in to be more like the film. I'm experimenting with these looks. And it added, it looks like I added more contrast. So I will take that, I'll leave that on. And all I did is I turned it on, enabled this sigmoid tone mapper, and it looks like I just messed with the contrast and the white point. I didn't mess with these primary colors very much. Let's turn that one off. Okay, so now I will go back into our exposure tab, and I'm going to mess with the tone curves. And I'm going to bring in a second one. And I'm going to try, let's see what we could find in here. So that's the base black. We don't bring that down. There's a little bit more brightness in there. I like that. And let's see if we can build up some contrast. We're going to do a little S now that we move the whites over. And this is generally the white area, but most of our image is on this side. So I'm seeing the height of our whites, lighter colors on this side of this box here. So I was trying to bring down this side over here, the darks, a little bit. And that might be a little bit too much. I'm going to try that. And I'm going to aim for these whites here in the mid range. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. And I'm going to go back into the local editing tab here. Make sure we're at the whole image in the screen. We're going to turn on our color tone. So inside this color correction, we could change, we could add different masks here, adding and subtracting them through this side. The saturation, if this had color, would help us using the existing colors, and then you'd boost the output. So this would be basically what most editors have. They don't label it as output. This adjusts the saturation, but with this input, you could select how much of the existing saturation you want to use. Okay, so I came into the editing module, and I had turned on the color tone correction to give me choices in here of what I wanted to mess with. And so we talked about the color. I'm going to go back into the highlights and shadows, and we're going to do some editing, kind of some dodge and burn on the petals. So I'm trying to see, I don't want to brighten the whole image, but the areas that I brush on will be this image. So that was our first mask right here. And now I'm going to turn on, and you see it has a whole screen, but we just want to brush it in. So I'm going to turn on the brush once again, and it turned it off temporarily, but once I turn on the brush here, and I tag something, which is probably too big of a brush. And let's go right in here and see how I made that real bright. So we're going to fix that by feathering it and smoothing it. And I'm just going to go through here. And here, I'll do that right now so you can see. You're probably thinking you're screaming at me. What is he doing? So I'm going to turn the feather on and the smooth on. And that now I kind of feathered it out. Let's see. Now if I was to show the mask, it toned it down quite a bit. I could even turn it down some more. So that's a mask, but this is actually. Is it working? Okay. And we could always tone this down a little bit if we think it's too much. So I'm going to take my brush and get these areas a little bit. And I like to keep the mask view handy so I can see what I've done. And let's turn it back off. And let's see here. Let's turn the brush down to a smaller radius. And I'm going to just kind of brush in the areas that I want. I think I said burn. I should be saying dodge when we add white. Burn is when we go black. There we go. And I'm trying to just change it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be the existing white area. We could wind up any area that we want. So let's see before and after as far as that mask. So that's what we've done so far. And we can go ahead and now add another mask. I don't know how to name these yet. So we just have to remember what they are. There might be a way to name that. So I added another mask, and I need to go down to my brushes and turn on my brush again. And what we're going to do this time is I'm going to add some darks. So instead of let's try the shadows. Let's see, I think I need it's on. Okay, because I had my brush on already. It didn't show it. So let's reset this, and now we don't want to add that much, do we? We're just going to go for a little bit of contrast right there, very delicately. Add a little darks, and now we go back to our brush. Turn it on, and we will brush those in. and we'll have to feather it out again. Grab the brush and let's go in these areas, and you can see it added a little bit there, and we will feather it out. Let's turn on the feather and see what we have so far. You can see where we added some blacks. So we'll continue with that. I'm going to get these edges right here. I'm going to dial down this brush. And that might be too small. And we could fine tune it just by turning up the digital over here. And I'm going to get these edges. Did you see that? I got the edge right there. This one. Let me keep on going with that. Whoa. Okay. I kind of lost where I was. There it is. Right here. And I think with the feather and the smooth additions, it kind of fixes it. It's not too noticeable. If we really wanted to, you could go back in here and remove some of it. It kind of softens it up a little bit. But I want to focus on these edges right in here. I could dial this down, turn it down a little bit more. Go for these edges. I might zoom to this and get some speed, so I'm not sure how long this is going to take. Okay, so we're back here, and let's see what we've darkened. I go back up to the main mask. Very subtle. You look right in here, some of these lines inside the flower, and I worked on these shadows here to improve them a little bit. Very subtle. And I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to add here's a snapshot. I add one right here, and just call it BNW. but that's the end. We push enter, and we're going to compare that to when we went to black and white. We'll choose this one right here, and there we go. We'll say original. Go to before and after. So we have to lock this one. And then I think if I go up here, there we go. So you can see the original right here. We just converted to black and white. And here we added our creativity and going into the details of what we did. We added a little exposure. Let's see here, very little. The tone equalizer, I don't think we even messed with that, just barely, maybe the midtones. Tone curve, I left the base one in there, and I clipped off the whites and just add a little bit of contrast here. And I did turn on the dynamic range a little bit, compression. Just to tighten that up. It was a little bit too bright. You can see we didn't do anything else here. We didn't mess with this tab, the detail tab. White balance, don't think we messed with that. We did a color correction, smoothness and texture. We did black and white. We did a little bit of simulation. We didn't do any crops. And we used the meta over here to look at the ISO. There you go.